evening, everyone, and welcome to the Perseverance Mindset Podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, we engage in real, everyday conversations with industry leaders about a variety of topics such as business, technology, finance, health, and wellness, to name a few. But today we're taking a little bit different approach because today we're talking about something near and dear to my heart, which is Toys for Tots. For those of you who know me and personally, very personally, know how much I admire the brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces. And today we have a very special guest with us today who embodies that spirit. And today I'm excited to welcome a Marine Corps veteran, Staff Sergeant Toothman. Toothman, welcome on to the show, sir. Thank you for joining us today. It's truly an honor.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Absolutely. And what better way to kick off the second week of December than with a conversation about a program that's been helping kids in need for decades, Toys for Tots. And, let's start by getting to know you a little bit better. Can you tell us where you are currently stationed and what your current MOS is? For those not aware of what an MOS is your military occupational status. It's basically your job. So can you start with that, Corey, and introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yes, sir, I can. So, first of all, my name is Staff Sergeant Corey Toothman. I am the Toys for Tots coordinator for Philadelphia County. Currently, I'm stationed with 314 Headquarters Battery in Bristol, Pennsylvania. I've been here for about a year now. I am a 3529, and that is a motor transportation maintenance chief. So the trucks, the Hummers, the Humvees, the 7 tons, all the green trucks or the tan trucks that you see cruising down the road or typically being hauled on the interstate. It's my job to maintain them.
Awesome. That is definitely not something that's an easy feat. My brother is also a 24-year veteran of the United States Army, and he definitely had some engineering experience. And I've seen the pictures of the suits all dirty and muddy, and repairing those, and some of the tools that are just probably bigger than half of people's bodies that are trying to fix these machines. I call them these titans. So hats off to you for that, and again for your service to our country. Now, what was that?
I said it's definitely not easy work. Sorry.
What was that?
It's definitely not easy
all
work.
Good. No, not. Definitely not. I can say that for sure. Definitely not. And you have training. You have so much put into that to be able to even do what you do. So hats off to you as well. Now, I wanted to ask. The Marine Corps is a different part of the military. It's known as one of the most elite, and sometimes it's nicknamed as first to the front, if I had that correct. Now, what motivated you to join the Marine Corps, and how did you decide it was the right path for you, Corey?
So back in 2013, I had been out of high school for about a year. I had a buddy who joined the Marine Corps, and that didn't initially kick me to join the Marine Corps. That did kickstart me into joining the military, and I started working with or talking to other recruiters. And it was a lot of asking a couple questions and getting told to come back later. Eventually, my buddy came back from boot camp and started telling me about his Marine Corps recruiter. And I had no intention of going to the Marine Corps, but I was like, you know what? It sounds like you had a good recruiter. I'll go talk to him. And then I did, and we sat down with each other. He gave me the spiel, but this is pretty common. When you're dealing with the Marine Corps recruiter, it's not what the Marine Corps can do for you, but it's just why should I let you come into my Marine Corps? Why should I let you join my Marine Corps? So you have to kind of sell yourself to the recruiter. And I'm not sure if you allow us to be on here or not, but essentially the recruiter, why should I let you join, right? So I was just like, it just clicked in my head. I was just like, you know what? I like to consider myself to be some kind of a badass. And if I'm going to join the military, I might as well hang out with other badasses. And that was it. The Marine Corps was the goal, and I wasn't going to take anything else after that.
Nothing less but the best. I mean, I've heard the stories I've had. I have a military family as well, and I've heard the background. I think so many people in my family have served the military, except the Coast Guard. Every branch has been served, from Secret Service to Army to Marines to Air Force. And I always hear from older veterans, someone say, "Why'd you join the Marine Corps in the Greatest Generation?" Because the uniforms were so good. You looked at the uniforms, and there was no other group that had a uniform like that. I know so many people on my block, and some people from the Greatest Generation were telling me that. That is awesome, incredible journey, and I've always heard like you're never the same once you step on those footprints at Paris Island or San Diego, and you're a changed person forever. You're a Marine. There's no other feeling. So thank you for sharing a little bit more about your journey, Corey. And now we're shifting gears a little bit. So today we're talking about Toys for Tots, a program that has been positively impacting the lives of children for more than 70 years. From my own experience, I remember seeing those donation boxes all over the place during my high school days and businesses during the holiday season. I never fully understood, you know, what the organization does and what the program does and, how much the organization does beyond just collecting toys. And, for me, I got more involved during the pandemic when I started to see everything just fall apart at the wayside in a lot of ways. And I know people needed help, especially during Christmas time, So I want to ask you, how did you first get involved with Toys for Tots, the program? Because, what inspired you to participate? Because we were mentioning that it's not just so common to join the Marine Corps and then, from the front lines, to delivering the toys. So what specifically spoke to you in the program of Toys for Tots that got you to get involved?
Yes, sir. So I answer this question a couple different layers to this. So first off, Toys for Tots is a Marine Corps Reserve program. So it was started roughly 76 years ago by a Marine Corps Reserve unit. They just wanted to help their local populace, the children in the local area, get toys. I think they ended up getting and collecting like 500 toys and donating those to the families in that area. And then from there, someone sent that story up, got a pat on the back, and then the Marine Corps Reserve was just like, this is a good program, continue doing this. And then from there, it got built. So as a Marine, eventually you stick around long enough, you're going to get an opportunity to work with this program, or hopefully so anyways. The next part of that is a year ago, I got sent orders to come here, 314. It is a reserve unit. I do work there full time. But immediately, as soon as I found out, like, hey, what do you got to do to get involved with that program, I started asking around and getting the information I could. I did that because my grandmother taught me the importance of community service, helping out others, and all these things. So, you'll see my kids running around here. Since I was their age, I've always been involved with youth programs and etc. So I really wanted to get involved with this program. And then a year later, they said, hey, we need a Toys for Tots coordinator. So I jumped on that grenade, as we say, and I started taking charge on it. And I enjoyed every minute of it.
I don't know if it'd have the same impact literally, but I'm sure there's a lot of challenges that come with being the coordinator and arranging the times and the schedules and everything that goes into it. And was there any more you wanted to elaborate, or was that?
No, I mean, I hope I answered your question, but I just wanted to speak of something you said. Yeah, there definitely is a lot of moving parts that I definitely didn't know about. And I'm lucky that I have a good support staff that has allowed me to focus on this full time, as well as I got a volunteer, Jen. She's been dealing with this program working with this program for about 7 or 8 years now. So I can look to her for guidance all the time. And because I'm the coordinator, a lot of times she'll say, so what should we do about this? And I just kind of look at her and I'm like, what do you think we should do about this? And then she tells me what they've done in the past and what's worked, and I was like, sounds good to me, But the Philadelphia County campaign is a double extra large campaign. So we can go from all the way to a double extra large to a double extra small campaign, and it's all dependent on how big the county is and the populace. So there's definitely a lot.
Now, because I'm curious on this, I have much I want to get to ask you. What is the difference between the extra small and extra large, like you just mentioned? Could you elaborate on that? Like, what is the difference between the sizes of the campaigns? How does that differ?
Well, I definitely don't have the textbook answer, but the way that it was explained to me was just based on how big the county is. So Philadelphia County is huge. There's a lot of zip codes that go in there. That's another thing people don't understand is where do I go to get help from Toys for Tots? Because everybody just sees the Toys for Tots logo and they think, hey, I need help. Right. That person can help me, which is true. However, I'm stationed in Bristol, which is Bucks County. I can't help out anybody in Bucks County. I can only help out people in Philadelphia County. We'll work with each other and get them to the right places. But so again, circling back, Philadelphia County full of a lot of zip codes. Then you get some counties where might only have 2 or 3 zip codes, and a populace of I don't know, just to give a roundabout number, like 500 people, right? Of those 500
Yeah.
people, how
Okay.
many people need help? And then that's how the foundation like says, all right, well, you're an extra small campaign because you only have 500 people in your county, and of those 500, we've seen that historically only 100 people request assistance. Philadelphia County's big, and I know this year we had upwards of like 3,000 requests for help.
I see. Okay, so it depends on zip code, the area that you're scaling to actually help, and like actually going into the communities. Okay, makes perfect sense. Now, also elaborating, can you walk us through the role that that Marines play in organizing and running the Toys for Tots drives? I'm sure there's a lot that goes into it. Like, what are some of the responsibilities you have, and like, what's your day to day look like? Again, from being doing from your job to serving as a Marine, and then taking this on. Like, so what are some of the responsibilities that you literally do in your day to day? Like, what does that look like for you?
Okay, so the wave top is the goal is to collect toys and donate those toys. That's the real one mission that we have here, right? Is to make sure that every kid wakes up Christmas morning and has a toy. So as long as I'm doing
Beautiful.
that, making sure toys are being donated, and then donating those toys, I'm considered as having a pretty successful campaign. What goes in with that is, without Jen here, I'm the one that has to answer the phones, respond to the emails, go into our website, track the applications either from a nonprofit or from an individual family. Look at the applications from businesses saying, "Hey, I want to get a toy box." We talked about the toy boxes. They have to request those from our website. This year, we had like 250 businesses request. Last year, we only had like 100 businesses request. So more than doubled our box requests. Again, I have to do all that. If I don't get a volunteer, I have to drive all those boxes out. Then event requests. So someone might not have a box out for the entire couple months that we do the campaign, but they might say, "Hey, we have a Christmas party," or "I have a specific day that I've told all my employees to bring in a toy. We're having a family fun day. They're going to bring toys. I would like to have some Marines there in their dress blues. Can you do that?" I got to manage all of those. So as you can see, there's a lot of moving parts, and without the help and support of either my Marines back at home or volunteers like Jen, uh, there's definitely a lot to manage for one person.
And I definitely could say this too. I'm well aware of the help that Jen provides because she had a lot of doing of me getting the name for you for us to get in contact. So that's tops
She
to
did.
her. Believe me, because I know how Jen is involved. My first year when I was getting the toys and I was buying them at Walmart, she had met me during COVID, and it's insane. Like we were going through. I was literally loading a truck full of toys, and I've been helping out with campaigns and raising funds, and then getting toys and donating them. I've been doing that for about 4 years myself. I think we're almost to the goal I set for this year. So you'll see me. I'll be volunteering as well. I think maybe next week. I think I put some time with Jen, so I'll be bringing the toys that I raised and that I purchased, and then also volunteering. So I always wanted to volunteer. So you'll be see if you're at the location, the warehouse you're saying, you'll be seeing me around as well.
That's
so,
amazing.
so yep, absolutely, and I couldn't be more proud to do it because I know, like for all of us, right? Like all of us haven't been, born into like a lifestyle, right? I mean, middle class family, middle class parents, maybe one parent working, the other's home for taking care of the kids and family, and we didn't have much, but every year we had gifts under the tree. Probably too many for us to count and understand where they came from. So when I can hear and understand and I can know that somebody out there might not have that opportunity, I have to get involved myself. So anyway, anything I can do. And if the same friends that I go to every year and people in the programs I'm with, I'm so consistent with it now. They reach out to me and they're saying, "Hey, we were gonna do it, but if you're doing your drive again, we want to make sure we come to you." And I'm like, when I hear them get messages like that, I'm be like, I know that's how I'm continuing. This would be my fourth year doing that. So I love every bit of it. So and also getting back to you, Corey. So over the years, you must have seen like a lot of like heartwarming like moments in doing these drives and just be like special moments and assisting with Toys for Tots. Do you have like a memorable story of one of those times of volunteering that really stands out to you out of all the moments I'm sure you have? Is there any what you would like to share with our listeners out there?
Well, funny enough, something happened today that really touched my heart. So
Okay.
we collect a little bit more than toys. We stay focused on toys, but we also get books. And then if anybody's generous enough, we'll get some bikes in. We don't really get many bikes, so we have to be very. I don't know how to explain this and put it carefully, but we can't just advertise that we have a lot of bikes because we can't
I
provide every
see.
family with a bike, right? But we did have a family come in today, and they was just saying like, "Thank you so much. This is the first time I've ever had to request assistance." So it takes a lot for a person to admit that, and
Yeah.
because she was
It's
putting herself out there, Jen was able to ask her, like what can we do more? What can we do more to help you, right? And she's
hmm
like, I haven't been able to get my kids bikes. Like my kids are a bike riding age. I really would like to be able to do that for them. I just don't know what to do. And sure enough, Jen comes, taps me on the shoulder, and we're like, hey, a couple of the bikes that we got back there, pull them out for them, and we did. And then this family, I believe it was definitely the mother was there for sure, but I think her parents were there with her, and you could tell just
hmm
how much that meant to them, and they got a little emotional about it. And obviously seeing
I'm
that,
sure.
I feel that today my wife was generous enough to volunteer her time, so my two kids were running around the warehouse. My wife's pulling stuff, and we got to share that experience together as well, and know that like, hey, we're doing something good, and then my kids get to see that saying. Just like I said, my grandmother's the one that taught me this, and now I'm passing those same lessons on to my kids. So there's a lot of things that happen there all at once that I'm probably going to cherish forever.
Absolutely, and that's what it is. It just encompasses like the season in itself. It's just like giving back, understanding that each day is a blessing, and anytime we could help somebody else to have a moment and make memories for them and their children, it's like you really have to do it. You have to do everything you can to the best. And again, I'm sure as it's a Marine Corps way, it's just the best, the few, the proud, and everything we do is just best and has to be to the best of our knowledge, perfect and ability, perfect. So as best as possible. But also too, well, that's great. Like no, I really draw from that experience, and I loved hearing that, and our listeners are going to cherish hearing this as well. And the impact of this program goes beyond just distributing the toys, like you just mentioned. It influences the community. Especially for children who might otherwise not have anything. Some might have a tree, no tree, might even not even have like ornaments or say a pet, like just little things. And it's powerful to think how much of an impact a small toy can have on a child's life, like a Lincoln Log set or Legos. I mean, Lincoln Logs, I'm going back, but Lincoln Logs, Legos, toys, action figures, and
We still
as
got them.
as a Marine, you know, and as a Marine, being involved with Toys for Tots, what does that mean for you personally? How does it align with the values of the Marine Corps, honor, courage, commitment, and like what you can do to instill like those values in your community and your personal life? What does that mean to you personally?
Let me think. So at boot camp, we start getting taught, others before yourself. So a lot of people, I don't want to say they forget that, but it's in the Marine Corps we talk about sustaining the transformation, right? And
Okay.
the longer you stay in the Marine Corps, especially as you become an NCO and a staff NCO, that becomes more and more of your responsibility to ensure that others, sustain that transformation. And I think a program like this, where you might not always have a volunteer to want to say they want to come out and be the coordinator, but you have to kind of
hmm
shove other Marines out there and get them out of their comfort zone. So it definitely takes a lot of courage. We talk about the honor, courage, commitment. It definitely takes a lot of courage to do that. But eventually, you start nudging them Marines to do it, and they realize the importance of the program. And again, it all comes full circle because you talked about like other people seeing that. Now they feel that warmness in their heart, and they want to pass that on, and etc. And
Correct.
again, there's something very honorable about it altogether. So I feel like, especially if I'm thinking methodically about this because that was a really good question about like there's the easy answer to your question. I feel like that it's a good program and everybody should be involved with it. But I think if you really think about it and you think about our core values, I could sit here and teach an entire leadership lesson to junior troops about that, just based off of like what our mission is for Toys for Tots. So.
Well, that's awesome. And again, this is our show about Toys for Tots, and we're talking and we're learning a little bit about you, and we're learning about the program. And I could say this for sure: this definitely won't be the last time we'll be connecting or talking. I'm sure there's so much knowledge on the back end that our listeners would love to hear about. And it's inspiring to hear about all these efforts within the military and communities and just everyday citizens getting involved. And also for people listening out there. Like I was one of them, and I told you I got involved more with COVID when COVID happened. When I kept reading on the news, and I've seen a story that, like as of last year, Jen was featured in it. I'm not picking on Jen. It's just whenever Toys for Tots out of the Philadelphia comes up, Jen comes up. It's just like synonymous. It's just we can't have one, peanut butter and jelly. Just Jen and Toys for Tots. But
Yes, sir. I love it.
anyway, I was reading. I was looking. I had an article pulled up. It's just like in 2023, with inflation and everything happening, donations were nearing like lows. Like some of the applications for people who needed help were falling at the wayside of folks of that people that like donations are going down because they're trying to provide for their family. So I understand that in its entirety. So it just makes the job, it's everything more challenging. But it's just at the same time, people realize that. And I hear about like how donations were low and folks are like, they don't know what folks are going to do. But, at the end, it always comes to work out because people that I know, some of the biggest donations that I get when I fundraise and I get the Toys for Tots, and then I come and drop off the toys I get. Some of my biggest donations are at the last minute. I try to tell people that try to have them in sooner because I use a website and that website donates the funds and they have to have so many days. So, but it's just some last minute, like, and like this year I can say, regardless of economic situation or impact, my donations probably per person out of 14 or 17 are 3 times larger than they were last year. And I've done the numbers on it. And it's just people have big hearts. People have big hearts, and we live in a great country where people strive to help each other and do more. And I'm proud to be an American. In that regard, it's awesome. And just seeing how can families, and this is my next question, how can families, also families, individuals, businesses, how can they contribute to Toys for Tots, especially if they don't have any direct, if they're not, they haven't served in the military, but they're community leaders. How can they get involved? Like, who would they reach out to? Like, I know there's a website and all of that, but like, how does that process look? I'm sure people would like to hear that, and our listeners would like to hear that too.
Okay. Yeah. So multiple ways to get involved. I'll start by saying you've spoken to it a couple of times too. It's just like we're not expecting anything from anybody because times are hard for everyone. So any support you can give whatsoever means the world to us as the people that do this on a regular basis, and obviously to those families that you're supporting. The easiest way to get involved is when you see one of those boxes, if you could just pick up a toy, put it in there, new unwrapped toy, then that toy is going to go to a kid, maybe even in your neighborhood, right? If you donate to a Philadelphia County Toys for Tots box, that toy is going back into your county, Other ways is monetary donations. If a business has that box there, they've been really good about telling me, like, hey, when I put this box up, I'm also going to put a jar. Is that something I can do? And yeah, as long as it's tracked and all the funds come to us, that's more support. And then from there, we take that cash. I give a cashier's check, and I mail that to the foundation, and they put it back into my bank account. I have Philadelphia County has its own bank account for the funds. That's another way. Or then you go to the website. So you spoke to the website. Multiple ways to get involved in there too, right? Is if you haven't seen any of the Toys for Tots boxes out, you can go on there and say donate a toy. It's going to give you an option to pull up a map, and it'll show you where these boxes are at in your county. From there, you can also, I believe, don't quote me on this, but you can go on there and request to send funds. And from there, it'll give you a bank account. It'll go to the national campaign, and again, eventually trickle its way back down to me, or our campaign anyways. And then on there, lastly, there is a tab for volunteering. So you can go in there. I think, believe like you said, and you can sign up for a day or submit an application to become a volunteer to come work in our warehouse. Again, those are applications that we have to go through and make sure that we're not going to waste your time either, right? Make sure that we're signing you up for a day, that we actually either have families coming because they get lined up out of the door to collect toys, at which point we'll have you packing orders, or we get a lot of donations in. Someone's got to count those toys because every toy has to be accounted for. We have to send those numbers up to the national campaign saying, hey, Philadelphia has received this many toys by donations this year. And then just as we count it going in.
I didn't know it was that. I didn't know it was intricate. Okay. Each toy is tracked, numbered. Okay. And they get the exact. Okay.
Yeah.
Never. Okay.
It's just to keep the program honest, you know. Not to say that anybody has ill intent with this program, but just like anything, everything has to be tracked. People want to know that when they, again, things are hard, right? So if I'm going to, take money out of my pocket and donate to someone, I want to make sure that goes somewhere. And that's just one way that the foundation has taken that accountability, just to ensure that, like, when you donate, it's going back into your neighborhood.
It's going back. Yeah, no, I just, to me, like, maybe we haven't talked about that enough because, again, we're getting near towards the end of this interview. And I also, that's what I would like to put out there for our listeners and subscribers as well. So now I know Jenna shared with me, like, they might be low on certain things that they need or focusing on age groups. So why don't we start and end the program with, like, so what are the age groups that if people are donating to Toys for Tots, like, what are the preliminary age groups? What can be donated? What is sought? What can be donated? What can't be donated? And then like anything in that information, like how does that work for anybody that hasn't been involved and they don't know any of this information and they're like, I want to help, but I don't want to buy the incorrect thing. Like, so why don't we start there?
Okay, so we break up our age groups from 0 to 2, so infant, toddler, and then we go to 3 to 5, and then we go from 6 to 7, or maybe 6 to 8, somewhere in there. And then we go from like 9 to 10, and then 10 plus. So the teenagers is in that group. We try to put it pretty straightforward. We don't receive a lot for teenagers. When teenagers get to that certain age, they want video games or all these other things that they're interested in. So we keep it pretty honest. We're like, hey, if you got a child and they want a toy or you want to make sure they get a gift, we'll get something for them. It might be a board game or something, but it's just not. It might not be what they're actually interested in that age group. But
of course,
across the board, everything has to be new and unwrapped. There's other organizations that accept used toys and stuff like that, but for whatever reason, decision made a long time ago, way above my head. Toys for Tots only specializes in new, unused, unwrapped toys. Outside of that, the age groups that we see a lot from or requests from will be that toddler age, and then as well as the that 8, 9, 10, right? So a little bit of the older kids. We really struggle with getting those donations in. We receive the good donations, however, we also receive the most amount of requests out of the age group. So it's hard to maintain a supply for those children.
Definitely challenging. So, okay, we covered the age groups. We talked about what collect, what's collected, what isn't collected. And I'd say, like, now for everybody starting, like, just more general information for anybody that listens or subscribes or watches at another time. When typically does Toys for Tots start collecting, and when is the cutoff? For anybody out there that either wants to get involved or donate, when is the start time, when is the end time, and when is just, like, end of time of whatever, like, you can't donate anymore? Well, how about that?
So the first part of that question is pretty easy to answer because every campaign across the board is required to start no later than October 1st. So every year on October 1st, you should be able to reach out to your local campaigns and start getting involved, start requesting assistance, etc., etc. As far as when the end time comes, that can change. And just because I'm the coordinator this year, might not be the coordinator next year. Typically, the way we run it is I'll be involved next year. I'll be the coordinator or the assistant coordinator, and then somebody else will be in the seat, and I'll be in the back seat. Just kind of tell them like, hey, this is what I did. This is what I recommend you do, but however you see fit. So this year we did our individual family cutoffs. We stopped accepting requests from them around December 5th, and we've made it our goal to make sure that all of them get responses by December 15th. And if I'm not mistaken, I was speaking to Jen, and I believe we were successful in that. Everybody who's requested assistance from us, like I said, upwards of 3,000, they received a request from us, and now it's just trying to schedule with them on when is best for them to come pick up those toys. But again, that date could change. Next year we could push it back to the right a little bit more, and maybe December 15th might be the cutoff for the applications, and we say, hey, everybody will receive a response by December 20th. So please, when you are requesting assistance, wanting to help, or whatever, read the website carefully, because those dates do change. And if it gets confusing, always feel free to reach out via email, via phone call, and typically our phone numbers are also cell phones. So shoot a text, be like, hey, I just had a question about the website because I was confused on this. It seems like there's 2 dates. I don't know what they mean, and we'll be glad to answer. Because that is one of the questions we've been receiving a lot here, actually, is because we put our cutoff as December 5th, a lot of families are also seeing that date of December 15th, and they're confused about why they can't apply anymore. And we have to go in and tell them, like, December 5th was when we needed all the applications in, and December 15th is us saying, hey, you will receive a response by December 15th. And we understand that is confusing. That just comes down to the fact that we're not Amazon. We're just 2 volunteers here hooking and jabbing, trying to make sure that we can help as many people as possible.
There's not a whole battalion dedicated to this with people that have MLSs, like one for email, one for truck driving, one for dropping off. Nope, this is people volunteering their time during a very busy month for not only for their job, their work, but their family as well. So it gets hectic, and I have a lot of respect and admiration for what you do, and for being in service to our country, and for helping with community needs like as this, and just so impactful what you do. And we talked about, well, when the application process for Toys for Tots opens, we talk about more of like a soft date and staying aware of by the website. And I have to say, like some of the best I've seen, like the ads, for me, that drew me to Toys for Tots and reflect for me is that I've always seen that ad on TV where the little boy's walking up to the Marine in a dress blues and he like tugs his sleeves like, hey, are you Santa Claus? He's like, and if you are him, can you give him this? And the Marine takes his hand and takes the request, and like that part. That I don't know when that ad came out. But I think they might still run it, but that ad got me every time. So like I must share that on Facebook and X as many times as I see it. So just touching. But listen, we've been through so much today about Toys for Tots and the great program that it is, and I think I had also seen somewhere in 2022 it's surpassed helping around 8 million children, and it's helped millions of children throughout the years, and I'm sure it's only going to grow. And we thank you for your time that you dedicated with us today during this busy day. At the end of going out and collecting the toys, and what time would you say you'd started that journey today? Going out and getting collecting toys.
So I showed up at the warehouse. I showed up at the warehouse today.
Hi.
I showed up at the warehouse today at 8. There's my son Anakin. I showed up to the warehouse today at 8:00, and when I showed up here, there was a member of the police department here. He was dropping off donations they'd received. So my day started honestly before I even got to work, because someone called me and said, "Hey, I'm at the warehouse. Can you get here?" And I'm like, "I'm literally on my way, brother." And then from there, I helped him unload his donations. I checked my email, responded back to you real quick, and then I hit the road roughly 9, and I didn't get back till right before we started this interview.
Right before. So, I just want to reflect, what a great conversation this is. And and our listeners and subscribers appreciate what you do with Toys for Tots. every day and every year. And I look forward to being a person that helps more for many years to come, 5, 10, 15 more years down the road, because I know the impact of these programs and what they play on communities. It's awesome. And, it's clear that this program is more than just about collecting the toys like we've talked about, and giving hope and making a difference in the lives of children, during the holidays. I can't think of anything more special than that. And I encourage anybody else listening out there, think about how they can contribute to a great cause like Toys for Tots, or getting involved. And to all of our listeners out there, thank you for listening in and tuning into this special episode. We want to thank Staff Sergeant Toothman for also setting aside some time to talk about this great program. Remember, small acts of kindness make a big difference. So, Corey, thank you again. Until next time, stay safe and stay strong. And I had to do this before the show was over, in the nature of it. And I'd have to say to everyone, Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for watching and subscribing. And have a great night, everyone. Thank you.